Yeah, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for coming. I'm a little bit disappointed that some of the news media are not here, although I'm not that surprised after I've attacked them in the past for not covering our news conferences. But be that as it may, especially newspapers like the Republican and Namibian, one would assume that we have a freedom of speech in this country and the freedom of the media, that the media will ensure that the people hear the message from everybody and then for the people themselves to make their decision. Not like what happened in COVID, where the media only followed the narrative of the government. But in any case, thank you very much for those of you who came. We will send an email this manifesto to all of you, also those who are not here. So without further ado, let me start by saying that the manifesto in its current form, and it will change here and there. A manifesto is not cast in stone. We will relook at that because there are some issues that we also still want to address. I am of the personal opinion that it's a formidable manifesto, and I'll come to that a little bit later, but obviously I cannot discuss every aspect of this manifesto. It will take us a few hours to do that. I just want to highlight a few things, and the one that I want to talk about is the issue of affirmative action, black economic empowerment, and this new thing that they wanted to introduce. Now, we are of the opinion that these laws and regulations that made provision for the above must be scrapped, and it's long overdue. The implementation of the laws and regulations have caused the white community to be treated as second-class citizens, whilst the majority were not involved in past discriminatory laws and actions. It is clear that affirmative action and BEE were only used as a smokescreen for the SWAPO government and their friends and families to enrich themselves and to loot the resources of this country. For a long time, the Republican Party was labeled as a party for whites, which was obviously not true, because we are one of a few political parties in Namibia that does not have an ethnic base, because we've got representation all over the country. We accepted this responsibility since the founding of the party in 1977 to work very hard to reconcile the peoples of Namibia. We've never shied away from this. We will do whatever we can to act in the best interest of every single Namibian. We have experienced that the white community has become apathetic towards politics, and they cannot be blamed for that. Because if one is constantly accused of having stolen land, of being a white monopoly capitalist, and many other things which are obviously blatant lies, then one can expect the reaction we got from this community. But the undisputed fact is that the white community has made a valuable contribution to our economy, and despite having been treated as second-class citizens. This must change immediately because we need the expertise and the experience of the said community to develop our country to its fullest potential. We've had many problems caused by the SWAPO government that have proved to be totally incompetent. A government who used their power to enrich themselves through dubious deals with foreign companies like, amongst others, the Chinese. And the Republican Party was never guilty of having made any promises to the people of Namibia, like what SWAPO and the other political parties have done. And they are still doing this as we speak. If you make promises knowing you will not necessarily be in power in order to fulfill these promises, then you are lying to the people and use their desperation for them to have a better life. Unfortunately, these poor people and unemployed citizens are extremely gullible and are easily influenced by these lies of political parties. That is why we say our only slogan and our promise is make us strong and we will make you strong, meaning that should they give us a mandate within the region or the country, then we will prove to them that we will make a massive difference in the interests of the people. Because we know very well that what needs to be done to make Namibia a prosperous country where unemployment, poverty and corruption will be something of the past. When you study our manifesto, you will see that we are addressing issues that are of great concern and also offer our solutions to the problems we currently experience in our country. These are not pipe dreams. It's not a pie in the sky. It is doable. But it will only be possible if Namibia is blessed with a government that will act only in the best interests of the people of Namibia. We know that we do not have the necessary capacity to run our country on our own, but we will make use of the expertise and assistance of capable people who are widely available in Namibia, irrespective of their ethnic and or political affiliation. It is therefore an honor for me to launch the Election Manifesto of the Republican Party, and I'm convinced that it will enable people to make the right choice come the upcoming election. This is without doubt the most important election in the history of our country, simply because we desperately need a new government. With that, I want to turn to our manifesto. And as I said, I'm not going to deal with all these issues. I think I just want to run through it very quickly for the sake of the media. The Republican Party government is set out very nicely: unemployment and poverty, housing, that is very, very important to us, education and training, that is as important, because I think the level of education in this country is deplorable, to say the least. Land reform, agriculture and resettlement. I've said before, and we've been not accused, but people thought that we as the Republican Party were against land reform, which is absolutely not true. We are all in for this land reform, but then it must be done properly. We cannot, and what happened in the country, which was very clear, is that the SWAPO government used affirmative action and black economic empowerment to allocate land to their friends, their families, and where people who really need the land were put on a farm where the farm was cut up in 4 pieces, 1,000 hectares each. Now, it will be impossible, and it has proven to be impossible for them to make even a subsistence living from that. What needs to be done is that we must identify black farmers who can farm, who has got the ability and the potential to become a good farmer, and then allocate land to him, a farm, and assist him with finances and technical support to make sure that he will become a prosperous farmer that will make a contribution to our economy. That is what we needed to do. This was not done. This is why the land reform policy of SWAPO is a complete failure. And I can tell you that if the Republican Party will ever come to power, or if I'm going to be the president of this country, I will expropriate every single farm that was allocated up to now. I will allocate those farms to farmers who can farm. I will expropriate also the farms that were given to business people in Windhoek that uses those farms as weekend retreats. Something drastic needs to happen. We cannot, the way that the land reform policy has been implemented up to now is a complete disaster. And the only way to rectify that will be to start all over again. We cannot carry on from where we are now. There are hundreds of farms that has been taken out of the economy, because those people just don't produce. And then we are surprised that the number of cattle that has been slaughtered in Namibia by Meatco and all the other slaughtering houses, that they are in decline. It should just be common sense why this is happening. So we will come down very hard as far as that's concerned. The other issue that I want to address is our natural resources, which to me, you know, if you look at what is happening in the country at the moment and our national debt, that is unacceptable. When I was in Parliament, our national debt stood at around about 27% of our GDP. And at that stage already we said we have to relook at that, we have to make sure that it's not going up. Currently, if I'm not mistaken, it stands around about 73%. It can even be more than that. It is unsustainable. We cannot carry on like that. So what do we do? What can we do? What we need to do, and if I'm the president of this country, I will nationalize every single mine in this country. I will put an embargo on fishing licenses being issued to individuals who's got no clue what a fish looks like, but they have a fishing license. We will stop that. My argument is that the best way to generate funds for a government, for us to go forward, to repay our debts as quickly as possible, will for us to nationalize our mines, and I'm specifically referring to the uranium mines that has been allocated and so-called bought by the Chinese, and we will nationalize those mines and we will put the mining of our natural resources out on tender, and the moment that natural resource reaches the surface, it will be the property of our government, and we will sell that at the prices that these current operators are getting. There was a report in the newspaper some time ago, if I'm not mistaken, Rossing Uranium, who declared a profit of 7.8 billion. And I think the income for the government from that was around about 160 million. That is unacceptable. It's our natural resources. It is underground in our country. The natural resources in this country belong to every single Namibian, not to the SWAPO government, not to their friends, their families, the Chinese. It belongs to all of us. And it should be utilized in a way where the country will profit from that. And you can think for yourself, if we take all our uranium mines, the gold mines, copper mines, the fishing industry, and we utilize all the income for that for the country, we can repay our debt within 1 or 2 years. And I will even want to go as far as to say that once that is done, we can even get rid of, not get rid of, but then it will not be necessary for citizens in this country and companies to pay tax. That is where we need to end up, and for people to go to school without having to pay school fees and to pay for their writing materials and books. That is where we need to come to. We are only 3 million people in this country. How on earth is it possible or not possible to do that? But it is because we've got a government, as I said, that is totally incompetent. They never ever acted in the interest of the people of Namibia. They want to stay in power at all costs. That's why they rigged almost every election up to now to remain in power, because, as I say, power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And this is what's been going on in the country. And then I don't want to talk about corruption. I think that is known to all of us. It is just surprising to see that after all these years, there's never been a politician, and the people that we know who are corrupt, never been brought to a court of law. I cannot understand that. It's impossible. So, Mr. Noah, if I become the president, you will have to look for another job. And definitely not in the public sector. Then we also speak about persons with disabilities, vulnerable children, orphans. It is of great concern what is happening in the country where women are being attacked and killed. We read about this every single day in our newspapers. I don't know what one should do, but I can tell you, if I'm the president of this country, the laws that will be implemented will be, and we will We will change the laws that if a man rape a woman, or if a man rape a child, he will go to jail for life. Not 25 years, he will go to jail for life. If he do that when he's 20 years old and he die when he's 91 years old, he will die in jail. That is what needs to be done. We cannot accept what is going on. The abuse of our women is unacceptable. And I think there are much that need to be done to try and see what can be done to solve that problem. But our men in Namibia are guilty of these atrocities, and we will have to find a problem with that. I think education to a large extent is also important. But then again, I think the people are desperate, they are destitute, they are poor, they are unemployed, and they make themselves guilty of taking liquor and become drunk, and then they start with all these activities that is unacceptable. I will in any case, and we haven't addressed this in our manifesto, but if I'm the president, I can guarantee you, I will close all gambling houses in this country, and I will close 70-80% of the shebeens. There's not even a question about that. We are not a people who need to be drunk every single day and then commit these atrocities that I spoke about. Minority groups, and then I've spoken about affirmative action, black economic empowerment. That did nothing for us in this country to make progress. Finance, I spoke a little bit about finance. For me, what's important is that measures need to be implemented that will put us in a position where we can repay our debt as quickly as possible, and for the country to use its natural resources to become prosperous. And then policies, I haven't spoken about that, but that in short, as I said, we are very, very, very proud of this document, and I want to urge you to read through it and study it. This will go out today to all our organizers, to all the media houses, the radio stations. We are open for discussion on this, not necessarily today. Make yourselves acquaint yourself with what is in the document, and then we will be keen to talk to you about this, and even get into a dialogue with you as far as this is concerned. As I said before, rest assured, this is not a pie in the sky. This is not something that we dream. This is doable. What we said here and what can be done and what need to be done is doable. You must just have the political balls to do that, and this government does not have it. We in the Republican Party, we know what to do. We know. It may sound very arrogant to say that, but we know what to do to act for this country to become prosperous, and so that it will be clear for the people that the government is acting in their best interest. We are sitting in a situation that is unbearable, that is unacceptable. I've been to the Kavango region, I've been to Caprivi, and you will hear that I talk about the Caprivi, not the Zambezi. There is no such a region as the Zambezi. That is a name that Swapo gave to them. The people in the Caprivi preferred to be called Caprivians in their Caprivi region. But if you go there and you see the poverty and the unemployment, and you see young children, young girls that's going to school, that has to drag 20 liters canisters with water to their homes, it's just unacceptable. We are independent now for 34 years and it's still going on. That will stop very quickly. The other thing that I will do if I'm the president of this country, I will build a railway line from Grootfontein to Rundu and from Rundu to Katima Malilu, and I will force all these trucks, all the material that is coming in from Zambia, the copper, and all the other materials to be transported by rail. I can tell you that when I was up there, you see 30, 40, 50 trucks with those copper. They are demolishing our roads. I don't know what the taxes that they pay at the border, but there is no way that whatever they pay, that we can use that money and that will be enough to to renovate and to resurface our roads. That it is just shocking to see the condition of our roads. So that's a few things that we will do. And this is what we talk about. As I said, we don't make promises, but give us that chance. Give us the chance. We want to unite the people of this country, not behind the Republican Party, but as Namibians. Yes. And not to worry about politics, because SWAPO has politicized every single sector in this country. And that needs to change very quickly. We want to unite the people of the Caprivi, and we want to help the people of the Kavango region, especially if you see what's going on there, where Sam Nujoma has promised that the Kavango and Caprivi regions would become the breadbasket of Namibia. And if you see what happened since he was a president and we became independent, the green scheme projects are useless. There's nothing going on, and there's no reason for that it should have been the case. But the reason why this is happening is because SWAPO is following the typical communist directive, where they do whatever they can to keep the people dependent on the government. So in other words, they don't want projects. They don't want anything to happen where the people can uplift their living standards. They want the people to be poor and unemployed, so that when they come around with their food aid and drought aid, then the people will be very happy to see this is now come all of a sudden SWAPO looking after them, which is nonsense. The Kavango region is lying there. It is all the potential is there to make the Kavango region the second richest region in the country. Currently, it's the second poorest region in the country. So we need to look at this. With that, I want to conclude this media conference. Once again, thank you for coming. We appreciate that.